So after the first day, I reflected on some of the topics and some of the speakers. Now, I really have to admit, whilst we're in Africa, we mustn't undersell ourselves. I think the quality of the speakers has been outstanding. I was lucky enough to be at an insurance conference in Dubai in March. And I must admit, the quality of our speakers have been outstanding, and not only that, just the quality of the questions that are coming from the audience. We really are on top of our game. If I look at some of the topics that were discussed in the UAE, it was about aggregators, and they were really, in the industry in the Gulf states were quite taken aback by an aggregating model. And I just thought to myself, well, if I look at aggregating and you look back at Hippo, which was started in South Africa 20 odd years ago, and then it morphed into Compare the Market in the UK, and there was a lady presenting in the UAE about Souk Al Mal, which is an aggregator, an insurance aggregator, and it was completely foreign to them, to the audience. And yet we've lived with something like that for nearly 2 decades now, and I think it was just a reflection of how mature the insurance industry is in South Africa. And I think the quality of the presentations here were far better than what I saw overseas. And I think we're at the cutting edge of some exciting developments that will probably go global and will emerge out of South Africa, which was referenced in the presentation from Hanover yesterday. So yeah, all in all, very impressed so far. I think the easiest way to answer that is the fact that change is constant. So, when we look at changes in our business, whether it be regulatory changes, we have a deadline, we meet those deadlines, and then there are new changes that come into place. So if we look at doomsday sayers or naysayers, there'll always be the naysayers. There'll always be the people that say the end is nigh, and we've seen it. We saw it pre-94 elections in South Africa. We saw it with the introduction of the National Credit Act, when credit insurance was outlawed in terms of being financed with vehicle sales. The world was going to end. We've seen it with phase regulating the intermediary space. We've seen it with TCF. And if one reflects back on the legislation, I'm also a consumer. The regulations and the legislation are good for me. They've been good for our industry. If I look at insurance now, as an insurer, I'm far more comfortable that the intermediaries are regulated, that the processes are transparent, that my customers know what they're buying, and they know what we're going to do in the event of an unfortunate eventuality. So I think the naysayers around the regulations, we've got to live with it. We're in the financial services industry, and long may the regulations live, and there's more to come. So the sooner we just batten down the hatches and get on with it, the better. When you look at the naysayers regarding the economy, downgrades in South Africa, etc., once again, we've been in worse positions. Bidvest have a philosophy which is we don't participate in a recession. And in fact, the best opportunities are in times of adversity. So we see the environment as very positive at the moment, and there's a lot of opportunities out there. It's how you look at it. Is the glass half full or is it half empty? I like to see it as half full. I think if I look at Bidvest Insurance on the short-term insurance space, it's to continue to grow our relatively young network of insurance brokers. So we're a relatively niche insurer. You don't see us doing a lot of above-the-line advertising. We're not an in-your-face insurer. That's not a market that we're going to play in. If you look at Bidvest, it's a B2B business. So Bidvest traditionally does a lot of business with other businesses. There's not a lot of customer-focused or customer-facing retail businesses in our organisation, and that's where we'll operate. We'll operate with good quality brokers that have service at top of mind, and also risk management on top of mind. You know, you can have brokers that will find and will broker a good deal, but are they managing risk? And managing risk is one of the important things for us. Not only does it protect our risks, exposure, but it also protects the customer. You know, it's one thing having the claim paid out, but the pain and the trials and tribulations that you go through to be reimbursed. You know, if we can manage the risks up front, I think that's important for us. Another area that we will focus on is being creative. You know, we've developed some very interesting niche products. We've launched a couple of firsts in South Africa this year. And I think what keeps us on our toes is the fact that we want to be creative, we want to stay ahead of the rest. We've found other companies sort of follow our lead. And that's one of the things that we need to stay on top of. We need to be at the cutting edge and make sure we come out with good product development. Well, pick up the phone is the easiest answer. But I think if you can display a history of good risk management, good TCF principles, transparency. You know, we were very lucky to. I know the regulator doesn't like it, or OSTI don't like it, but we were very highly ranked in terms of the OSTI reports over recent years. So we want brokers that are very serious about TCF. We want brokers that are going to partner with us for the long term and for the right reasons. That's why we're quite select. And if we wanted to simply write large books of business and grow scale, then we'd be an above the line insurer, and we'd throw a lot of money at it. But we would rather, as I said, swim in the shallows, build healthy long-term relationships that provide real value to all stakeholders. That's ourselves, that's the broker, and ultimately the customer. Well, I think one of the biggest challenges that South Africa has, as they originally had in the banking space, was to bank the unbanked. We need to insure the uninsured. So that's a big challenge for us. And I'm hoping that technology can leverage that. So we've seen it with the mobile banking apps, etc. in South Africa. I'm hoping we can leverage. Technology. I'm hoping we can leverage some clever thinking and some clever models that will expand insurance into the informal sector. You know, I was very happy to listen to, I think it was Akim Kenneth yesterday from Hanover, regarding the concept of freemiums for the informal sector, because we come from a very privileged background where we've seen insurance. We've either experienced it or friends of ours have experienced it. So when the proverbial has hit the fan, insurance has stepped in and we've seen the benefits of insurance. In the informal sector, they haven't seen the benefits of insurance. They've seen disasters and they've seen catastrophes and fires and floods and damage, etc. But they haven't seen the benefits of insurance. So how do we get people to see, feel and touch and experience the benefits of insurance? So I think the opportunities of freemiums, so when disaster does strike, there is an insurer that steps in, or there is a policy that steps in and provides relief to those people. That's when I think the informal sector will see the benefits of insurance and in turn educate and improve the economy through insuring the uninsured. As I mentioned before, I think staying ahead of the game in terms of being creative, in terms of product development. I think one of the things that we've done well is spend a lot of time with our customers that have experienced claims to identify where the shortfalls are. If I look at TCF as an example, it's been a blessing for our business because it forces you to look at where your business might not be the best for a customer. So where isn't it fair, or where is it tedious for a client? And you remove those sort of difficulties from a client's life, you improve your product. What I've found from my personal side is, I've experienced claims myself or events, and where I saw the gaps, we developed product that met those gaps. So I think change is constant, our learning is constant. As a company, Bidvest doesn't say, we know everything and we're going to charge ahead and follow us. We're open to advice. Where we get things wrong, you must let us know. Where we get things right, also let us know. But I think the opportunities lie in focusing on where you fall down. And if you start plugging those gaps, you'll continually develop a product and a service that will just improve year after year.